What would you do if you were a reclusive military veteran living alone in the middle of a winter forest when a desperate knock came at your door in the middle of a blizzard? That's exactly what happened to Ethan Cole when Officer Maddie Hart stumbled out of the frozen wilderness carrying 2 crying infants and bleeding from a head wound. "Can we sleep here? It's freezing," she gasped, collapsing against his doorframe. But this wasn't a simple rescue from the cold. Maddie was running from human traffickers who had tried to sell 2 innocent babies, and now those same men were hunting through the snow-covered forest, determined to eliminate the only witness who could destroy their operation. This is the incredible true story of how a lonely veteran's act of kindness became a life-or-death battle to protect the most vulnerable among us. Where are you watching from right now? Drop your location in the comments. And if you believe that sometimes strangers become family in our darkest moments, hit that like button. You're going to need it for this one. Now let's begin. Snow pressed against the forest like a living thing, wind threading through pine needles, turning the night into an endless howl. Ethan Cole stood in the doorway of his remote cabin, weathered and solitary at 39, broad-shouldered beneath his brown coat. He was a former Army infantryman who had learned to read the sound of approaching storms. The war hadn't made him cruel, but it had stripped away the softness he never bothered to reclaim. His cabin deep in the winter forest was an agreement with the world. Leave me alone, and I'll do the same. Beside him stood Bear, a 7-year-old German shepherd with intelligent amber eyes and a thick sable coat. Bear rarely barked without reason, and when his ears stiffened, Ethan trusted that warning more than his own instincts. The fire inside was dying when the knock came. Not polite, not hesitant, desperate. Wood struck by flesh that could no longer feel cold properly. Bear's head snapped toward the door, a low question rising in his chest. Who is out there? And why are they still alive? "Please," came a woman's voice through the door, ragged and shallow. "I can't. I have babies." Ethan cursed the universe and his conscience as he slid the bolt free. Wind forced its way inside first, then she stepped forward. Officer Maddie Hart, swaying as gravity finally remembered her. She was around 32, athletic build beneath a torn navy police jacket. Her light brown hair was plastered to her pale face by sweat and melting snow. A dark bruise bloomed along her cheekbone. Dried blood traced her jaw. In her arms, wrapped in a single insufficient blanket, were 2 infants. They couldn't have been more than 2 months old, tiny, red-cheeked, breathing shallow and uneven. One whimpered softly, the other slept with a fist curled against his chin. "I'm a police officer," she said, her badge half hidden by snow and blood. "My car's gone. Radio's dead. They're following me. I just need warmth. 5 minutes." Bear stepped forward, placing himself protectively in front of Ethan, assessing. Then his gaze dropped to the babies, and something shifted. His ears softened, tail lowered. He whined once, quietly, a sound he hadn't made since he was a pup. The babies coughed, tiny, wet sounds that cut through the wind. Ethan felt the familiar weight of choice settling in his chest. "Inside," he said, stepping back. "Now." Warmth hit Maddie immediately, nearly buckling her knees. Ethan caught her elbow, guiding her toward the fire. Bear laid down beside them, forming a barrier between the door and the fragile life now in the room. As Maddie settled by the fire, checking the babies obsessively, Ethan added wood to the flames. "What happened?" She swallowed hard. "I found them abandoned behind a motel. When I called it in, someone cut me off. I ran." Her voice cracked as she explained. She had discovered the babies during a human trafficking investigation. Men who buy silence and sell it had tried to take them. When she interfered, they sabotaged her car, killed her radio, and hunted her through the forest. "They don't like loose ends," she whispered, glancing at the door. Throughout the night, Bear's ears would lift at distant sounds. Ethan trusted those warnings. Someone was out there, circling, waiting for the storm to pass. As dawn approached, they moved carefully to town for supplies. The local sheriff, Tom Keller, recognized trouble when he saw it. Mrs. Eleanor Briggs, a retired schoolteacher with iron resolve, provided milk and blankets without asking questions, but the traffickers had followed them. That evening, a man knocked, smooth, practiced, claiming to be looking for family. He wanted to help with paperwork for the babies. Ethan opened the door just a crack, keeping the chain latched. "It's late," he said. "Roads are rough." The man's eyes were too alert for the hour, his smile calculated. "Just need a word about 2 babies. Families are worried." When he tried to peer past Ethan toward the shadows, Bear growled, low, unmistakable, the sound of a boundary drawn. "You don't want trouble," the man said quietly. Ethan leaned closer. "Then you should leave." The confrontation came the next morning. The traffickers returned with reinforcements, but so had help. Sheriff Keller arrived with deputies and several townspeople who had heard the story and decided to act. Mrs. Eleanor stood with them, coat buttoned high, eyes blazing with righteousness. The mechanic filmed everything on his phone. The librarian took notes. When the trafficker's story collapsed under questioning and evidence was found in their vehicle, they were arrested. A caseworker arrived to ensure the babies would be placed in protective custody in safe homes. As the legal machinery moved forward, Ethan and Maddie stood on the cabin porch in the evening snow. The babies were wrapped warm, finally safe. "I thought I was just doing my duty," Maddie said, tears slipping free. "Turns out I was looking for home." Ethan leaned against the doorframe, hands in his pockets. Home needs fire, blankets, and a dog who insists on interrupting serious conversations. Bear wagged unapologetically, as if to say civility was overrated and presence was everything. The forest had not ended winter, but it had stepped back just enough to let courage write a line the cold could not erase. No thunder split the sky. No angel appeared in blinding light. The miracle came quietly, through a door opened instead of kept shut, through a fire kept burning through the night, through strangers who chose to protect innocent life. Sometimes God speaks through still, gentle whispers. Perhaps that whisper moved a veteran to stand his ground and a loyal dog to guard what mattered most. If this story touched your heart, smash that like button and subscribe to Fur and Feather Tales for more incredible rescue stories. Drop A for Ethan's courage, A for Bear's protection, and if you believe kindness can change everything. Which moment moved you most? Let me know in the comments below. Your support helps us share these amazing stories of hope and healing. Thank you for being part of our Fur and Feather Tales family.